Now, most of the time when we buy an audio interface, we're looking at two things. How good does it sound and how many channels does it have? And a lot of times we start with like a 2-channel, 4-channel interface and we think, okay, well one day I'll buy a new one that has way more channels. But for now, this one sounds good and it'll do what I need it to do. But one thing that a lot of people don't know about is you can take a 2-channel interface like this one and upgrade it to a 10-channel interface for pretty cheap. And even if you don't need more channels, there are some other upgrades that you can get out of an interface like this that make it way more versatile and way more useful. So let's talk about it. So for example, this is a Universal Audio Apollo twin interface, and it only has 2 inputs, so you can record 2 mics at a time. But what you may not know about this interface and a lot of other interfaces is it actually has this optical in port right here. And what that means is that you can use an ADAT cable, which is a type of fiber optic cable, and you can connect an external preamp that has ADAT outputs, and you can add 8 additional preamps and inputs to an interface like this one. Now on my desk, I actually have the 8-channel version of this interface, but I also have an 8-channel ADAT preamp underneath it, and that allows me to record 16 channels of audio at a time. Now, what's super nice about upgrading a 2-channel interface like this to 10 channels with an external preamp is that if you want to go do a mobile session or you're doing some traveling, you can just unplug your 8-channel preamp from this, throw it in your backpack, and move on with your day. When you get home, just plug it back in, and now it goes back from 2 channels to 10. Now, not every interface has an ADAT input, unfortunately, but a lot of the more prosumer and professional ones do. For example, this Focusrite 8-channel interface actually has ADAT in and outputs, so you can either use this as your interface and add 8 channels below it, or you could use this as the 8 channels of preamps and connect it to something like that 2-channel interface. Now there are some really affordable 8-channel ADAT preamps that you can buy. I'll go ahead and link some down below, and that will allow you to expand your interface to have more inputs without having to buy a whole new one. Now, the second thing that you can do to upgrade your current interface is to get a monitor controller. So my 8-channel UA interface is mounted in my rack, and it has one output knob, but it's kind of missing some of the other things that I would like to have. For example, it only has connections for 1 set of speakers, and it only has 2 headphone outputs. But by adding a monitor controller like the Audient Nero that I have on my desk, it moves my master volume knob from in the rack to on my desk where it's a little easier to reach for, but it also gives me 2 more headphone outputs, plus the option to send even more headphones out of the back. I can plug in multiple sets of monitors and switch between them, and I also get an aux input where I can plug in a phone or someone else's laptop and play music through my speakers that's not just coming out of my interface. It also has multiple inputs for different interfaces, so if I wanted to switch between my interface and someone else's really easily, let's say I'm in like a shared studio situation, well, you can easily just push a button and flip back and forth. It also has a talkback button and a microphone built in, so if someone's in the other room recording with headphones on, I can push that talkback button and then that mic will turn on in their headphones and they can hear what I have to say, so I can give feedback on their last take, or I can tell them that we need to do it again. Basically, it just makes communicating between the artist and the producer very simple. So these 2 upgrades can take an interface like this one and take it from a relatively mild featured 2-channel interface and turn it into a full featured 10-channel interface for a lot less than it costs to upgrade to a new interface. Plus you keep the portability, you keep the form factor that you're used to, and it's gonna save you some serious cash. Now, if you find gear videos like this one useful, then go ahead and subscribe because I publish new producer videos every single week, and go ahead and watch this video here to learn more about another piece of gear that I absolutely love.